Hello, YouTube. We have suffered a tragedy this week, and it is appalling. But I just wanted to come on and share a story with you, part of it which I have already alluded upon, and it was when I was shot. Uh, when I was a kid at 13, it was winter time, and all kids have their little friends, and one friend of mine, we used to hang out a lot. We were in the Boy Scouts together, and we were good kids. I mean, we weren't bad kids. Anyway, I went to this guy's house one day, and this isn't the day I was shot. This was like 2 days before I was shot, and he shows me his dad's .22 revolver. It's that it was a 6-shot llama, and he points it at my head. I can look down this guy's barrel, and I could see the tops of the shiny bullets around the cylinder, and I told the guy, hey man, that gun is loaded, don't point it at my head. I mean, he had it pointed at my head and the hammer cocked back, and he was playing. He didn't know it was loaded. He was a stupid little kid. And luckily for me, well, lucky, whatever, my dad, he was a gun shop owner, and I had my first gun when I was 9 years old, and I've been raised with gun safety, blah blah blah, all that. And this kid's pointing this gun at my head, and I could see the bullets in the cylinder, and I told him, and I even opened up the little bullet loading ramp, and I showed him the bullets in it. Well, he puts the gun away, and we do what little kids do, and it was a snow week. We were not out of school for one day. We were out of school pretty much for the whole week. This is when it snowed in America. And well, 3 days later, 2 or 3 days later, I would like to say I remember what day it was. I don't. And I do remember it was the day before they had 911, and you couldn't dial 911, and you could only dial 0 for the operator. Anyway, a couple days later, he comes into his bedroom, he points his gun at me, says, stick 'em up, pow! And that is just how fast it went. I was done shot. And the bullet did tremendous damage to my body. It pierced my lung. It's still embedded in my spine. I got a little chunk of shrapnel up here, and it's 5 millimeters from my spine. That's pretty much provable because I had to go do a CAT scan. Anyhow, he shot me, and then it's kind of funny because I didn't feel nothing. It felt like he shot the wall behind me, and I was hit with powdered plaster. It felt like dust hit me. And then he asked me if I was shot. I said, I don't think so. And then all of a sudden, I guess my heart started beating, or the whole channel of the wound filled up with blood, and as my heart would beat, blood shot out of my body. Every time my heart would beat, blood would just shoot out of my body in several feet. I mean, in my video or somewhere I said it was on the ceiling, and it was on the ceiling. Blood was on the ceiling. Blood was on the upper parts of his wall. I mean, I hosed this guy's house down with blood. And I said it was the days before 911, 911, and I don't mean 9/11. So I'm like, hey dude, we gotta call the ambulance. And my friend, we're the same age, he's like, no man, we cannot call the ambulance. We can't, because I'm gonna get in trouble. I said, dude, I'm dying. And I went to his phone, I dialed 0, the operator had come on, and my friend hung the phone up on me. And I'm begging with him. I'm breathing. I got a hole in my lung. This bullet went through my lung, and my heart's beating, blood shooting out, and as I'm breathing, I could hear my wound gurgling. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Every time I breathe, I can hear it gurgle. And I'm freaking out. Well, I guess I wasn't freaking out. I had a square head on my shoulders. I knew I needed to get somebody there, get an ambulance, and my friend hangs the phone up on me. And I tell him, man, we got to call the law. And he goes to the bathroom to get a washcloth. I believe he got a washcloth. And I mean, his house is covered in blood. He's thinking we're going to get away with this at this point. He tells me, tell his parents, okay, We'll tell my parents we were in the back and you fell down on a nail. Yeah, that ain't gonna fly. So I'm called the cop. I called 0 again, and I get the operator. I mean, both times I get the operator. My friend hangs up on me again. No, we cannot call anybody. Oh dear, and I'm getting weak. I mean, I'm getting weak. I don't know how much blood I've lost. And anyway, this time I convince him, hey man, I am dying. I'm going to die if we don't get an ambulance in here. So he lets me call the police. And this guy, I'm a big guy, but this guy was bigger. He was, 6'2", bodybuilder, we're just 13-year-old kids, but this fella, he worked out. He was real proud about his supersized arms and whatever. His dad was an ex-military man, and he was a bodybuilder at 13. He was a pretty big fella, and I begged him to let me call the cops, and thank God he let me. And anyway, finally, you come to find out he didn't know his home address, and Lord knows I didn't, but I gave good enough directions for the police to come, and like I said, it was snow out, and I told them I was going to go lay in the snow and die. You just come get me. And a few minutes later, the cops show up because the operator did relay the message, but they relayed it like we were kids and we were joking because we kept calling him and kept hanging up. Well, it was good for my buddy. He's a good guy. Anyway, I laid in the snow. The doctor said that was smart of me because that kind of slowed the blood flow up. I don't know how good an idea it was or not, but I was laying out in the snow in my t-shirt. The cops came, they got the ambulance there, and they rushed me to the hospital, and I was shot in the shoulder. The doctors, nobody believed that I was in as serious a predicament as I was in, and they put me in a CAT scan, and well, they fumbled around. They stuck probes in there trying to find a bullet. They got an x-ray of my shoulder. They could not find a bullet. They didn't know where the bullet was. They decided to give me a CAT scan. Thank God CAT scan technology was around back then. And they put me in a CAT scan. They figured out where the bullet was. And I'll tell you, when they stuck a probe, I mean, it was the size of a pencil, guys. They stuck this probe in me. It was a chest tube. They held me back. They would not let me have any anesthetic. They said that might cause me to go to sleep and never wake up. They stabbed me in the ribs with this thing all the way to my lungs. They pierced my lung, and as soon as they pierced my lung, they had a stainless steel like salad bowl, like one of those cooking bowls, mixing bowl, a big stainless steel bowl, and blood gushed out of my body. It looked like you turned the faucet on your sink, and blood just swirled around in that thing. And they gave me another one. It was pretty horrible because the second one, they hit a rib. They didn't even pull this thing out. They just redirected it and stabbed it in me some more. Oh my goodness, I'll tell you what, I was cussing that doctor so severely. I told him I was going to kill him. I thought dude, that was terrible. No anesthetic, and these guys are stabbing me with two, I would say 6 to 8 inch spikes the size of the ink pen. And well, anyway, I was in the hospital for 8 days. That was the worst part of the whole deal. I was in the hospital for 8 days. Found out what morphine was, and morphine's pretty cool when you're in that much pain. But the first thing I told my parents when I was lying, when they finally let me get with my parents in ICU, was, I don't want my guns anymore. Take them and do whatever you want with them. And that's what I said. In my mind, I still love my guns, and I just said that in order to sound politically correct. At 13, I knew that's what I should say, and that's what I said. And I did not mean it. And here, with this tragedy we just had, everybody in America, well, not everybody, but all the leftards are saying, take our guns away, because we don't want tragedies like this. And people are jumping to conclusions, and we don't need to do that. And pretty much this is the point of my story. Though I do have another point of my story. My mom divorced my dad when I was a couple years before this incident, and she moved to California, and she was living in California in Pomona. And I went to visit her. This is the same year, actually. My recovery was unbelievably quick. I mean, it was just unbelievably quick. Thank God there was doctors. I would have died if this would have been shit hits the fan. But I healed. I went to California to visit my mom, and believe it or not, that is when that nutcase in San Diego went into the McDonald's and killed all those people in McDonald's in San Diego. Now, my stepfather, two of his cousins were in there, and they both died, and his cousin's husband was wounded. And there was another little kid there. The four of them went to McDonald's for McDonald's lunch. The little kid died, his cousin, the lady died, and her son, which was his second cousin, died. And the husband survived, but wounded. And I don't recall people jumping to conclusions saying we need stiffer gun control then. And I really hate seeing the news and all the hype going on right now. And I hope Obama don't jump on this as a political stepping, what would you call this? A point. Because to him, I'm sure he cheered on this, because after Fast and Furious, this is something super in his favor. And shoot, this might even help him win the election, because I hope Mitt Romney doesn't go strong gun control all of a sudden now too, which would be the politically correct thing to do. Well, this is the longest video I have ever made, and that's my story. That's the whole gun shooting story, except for the recovery and all that. It took me a couple weeks to recover from being shot, and I still got the lead in me. And whenever I go through an airport metal detector, I always wonder if I'll set it off. But God bless everybody. God bless America. God bless the people in that incident, and hopefully they don't jump to conclusions, though I don't believe any of them ran out the next day and started tossing their guns in the trash. Don't give up, don't give in, and don't become the thing you hate. And everybody, God bless us all, and hopefully we can get rid of Obama this year, because I'll tell you what, he might be part of the stress that's stressing America out. God bless you, and good day.